Something unimaginable is happening in America's fast food industry. From New York to Nevada, drive-thrus are empty, neon signs are dimming, and the aroma of fried comfort is vanishing. Once crowded chains are now closing at record rates, as rising prices, stagnant wages, and economic pressure make cheap, convenient meals unaffordable for families. Behind every shuttered location lies a broken promise that fast food would always be accessible and affordable. But in 2025, that illusion is fading. This video explores the shocking decline of America's fast food empire, uncovering why even the giants of burgers, fries, and shakes are struggling to survive in today's economy. Number 10. Hooters. Few brands were as instantly recognizable or as controversial as Hooters. Once a $1.2 billion American casual dining icon, it drew crowds with spicy wings, cold beer, and a distinctive nostalgic vibe. But in 2025, the neon signs and orange shorts can't mask the brutal truth. Hooters is collapsing. In June 2025, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, confirming the closure of over 150 U.S. locations. That's nearly half its domestic footprint gone in 1 year, leaving more than 6,000 employees suddenly unemployed. The challenges aren't just financial, they're cultural, generational, and economic. Hooters thrived in an era when dining out was an experience, not a luxury. Today, Americans are cutting discretionary spending as rent rises 25%, grocery bills climb 21%, and credit card debt hits $1.4 trillion. Analysts report a 17% year-over-year drop in sports bar and casual grill sales in Q2 2025. Even loyal patrons admit that $16 wings and $9 beer pitchers are hard to justify. Financial metrics are equally grim. Average unit volume fell below $1 million per store, compared with over $1.7 million in 2016. Delivery apps have siphoned off dining traffic, while labor turnover exceeding 90% annually has hurt service consistency. Franchise owners face $180 million in combined rent and supplier debts, forcing abrupt closures in Florida, Texas, and Georgia, once Hooters strongholds. The brand also faces an identity crisis. Younger diners favor health-conscious, gender-neutral environments over the dated party bar vibe. Rebranding efforts like Hoots Wings failed to gain traction, while online search interest for Hooters Near Me fell 58% nationwide between 2020 and 2021-2025. Hooters' decline isn't just about sales, it reflects a cultural shift. Escapism is moving online, and America is trading entertainment for survival. In 2025, the model that once symbolized carefree dining no longer fits a society burdened by rising costs and changing tastes. Number 9. Sweetgreen. Once hailed as the future of healthy dining, Sweetgreen is now facing a harsh reality. America can no longer afford luxury salads. In 2025, the salad empire that promised food with integrity is drowning in red ink. Same-store sales have plummeted 7.2%, and more than 40 U.S. locations have closed since January. Investors who once saw Sweetgreen as the next Chipotle now watch its stock sink below $10 per share, down from its 2021 IPO price of $52. For many, the chain's collapse is more than financial. It symbolizes the fragility of the premium, healthy lifestyle economy. A Sweetgreen bowl that once cost $9.95 now averages $15.29 nationwide, with some locations exceeding $17. Add a drink, and a single lunch can approach $20. Unaffordable for workers whose weekly pay now buys 20% less food than in 2020. Millennials and Gen Z, once the core audience, are trading down to cheaper grab-and-go options or skipping out entirely. Delivery orders have dropped 28%, and in-store foot traffic is down 18%, according to Q2 Analytics. Employee turnover is running 92% annually, while food waste costs have surged 30% due to short shelf-life premium ingredients. Each closed store represents hundreds of thousands in sunk build-out costs, often exceeding $1.2 million per unit. Even the high-tech Infinite Kitchen Automation initiative has failed to stop losses. The deeper issue is psychological. Sweetgreen once represented aspiration, clean eating, and local sourcing. In 2025, it has become a symbol of guilt and exclusion. In a nation where 42 million rely on food stamps, $17 salads feel out of reach. Analysts warn that Sweetgreen is the canary in the coal mine for upscale fast casual chains, showing how premium brands struggle in a shrinking middle-class economy. The collapse of Sweetgreen isn't just about overpriced kale. It's a mirror reflecting America's widening economic divide, where the dream of healthy living has become a luxury few can afford. Number 8. Chipotle. Chipotle Mexican Grill, long considered recession-proof in the face of fast casual dining, is showing serious cracks in 2025. The chain that turned burritos into a cultural phenomenon is now struggling to maintain its footing. For the first time in a decade, U.S. same-store sales dropped 4.5%, while foot traffic in major urban markets fell 12% year-over-year. At the same time, average spend per customer has risen to $14.80, outpacing inflation by 35%, driving away price-sensitive diners. In 2025, Chipotle quietly closed 75 underperforming locations, primarily in suburban areas hardest hit by layoffs and rising living costs. The problem is clear. American disposable income is evaporating. Incomes have risen just 3% since 2021, while food prices have surged 21%. A burrito bowl that once cost $8.50 now exceeds $12, and adding guacamole can push a meal to $16, making a family of four's dinner cost $64, equivalent to a full grocery run. Operational costs are also exploding. Minimum wages in states like California and New York now range from $16 to $18 per hour, while avocado and protein costs have risen 40%, shrinking profit margins from 22% to 14% in 2 years. Even delivery partnerships, once a lifeline, now eat up 30% of revenue per order. Chipotle's brand, built on ethical sourcing, sustainability, and affordability, now feels out of touch in an economy where millions struggle to make ends meet. Its core audience, middle-income professionals, is squeezed by rent inflation, student loans, and rising daily expenses. Competitors like Qdoba and Moe's are capitalizing on the shift, leaving Chipotle's premium positioning less relevant. What's collapsing isn't just a restaurant, it's a symbol of modern American aspiration. The once perfect burrito bowl now tastes like the bitter reality of inflation, rising costs, and a shrinking middle class, serving as a cautionary tale for the fast casual sector in 2025. Number 7. TGI Fridays. The collapse of TGI Fridays, one of America's most iconic casual dining chains, is no longer a rumor. It's happening in real time. Once a symbol of post-work gatherings, casual comfort, and celebrations, TGI Fridays is now facing its darkest chapter in decades. In early 2025, the company confirmed the closure of over 180 U.S. locations, eliminating nearly 7,000 jobs in just 4 months. These weren't obscure suburban outposts. They were prime retail corridors once packed with families and office crowds. Today, half of those parking lots sit empty, neon signs flickering like fading memories of a bygone era. Sales have plunged 22% compared to 2019, with average revenue per store dropping below $1.4 million, an all-time low. Rising food costs, up nearly 40% since 2020, and skyrocketing labor expenses have eaten through razor-thin margins. A burger that once cost $9.99 now averages $15.49, a reflection not just of inflation but of desperation. Consumers already burdened by rent, car loans, and medical bills are simply staying away. Casual dining traffic dropped 11.6% year-over-year, and TGI Fridays is taking the brunt of that decline. Over 30 franchise owners have filed for debt restructuring or temporary shutdowns, citing unsustainable leases and dwindling foot traffic. Even the once-beloved happy hour has become a liability as younger diners flock to fast casual chains and delivery apps. TGI Fridays, the brand that defined the American casual dining vibe in the 1970s, is losing cultural relevance. Its core demographic, middle-class America, is shrinking, with average household dining visits dropping from 5.3 per month in 2019 to just 2.7 in 2025. This isn't just a story of store closures, it's a reflection of a vanishing middle America. The decline of TGI Fridays signals a deeper shift. The end of affordable joy in dining and the fading of a cultural institution that once made celebration accessible to all. Number 6. Taco Bell. For decades, Taco Bell ruled late-night America. Cheap, fast, and comfortingly greasy. But in 2025, the iconic chain is facing its toughest year in a generation. Over 400 underperforming U.S. locations are closing, mostly in suburban and college town markets, signaling a dramatic decline for the brand that once boomed across 7,000 stores nationwide. Same-store sales have dropped 6.2% year-over-year, the steepest decline since 2011, while foot traffic in major cities like Los Angeles and Chicago has fallen 14%. According to Placer.ai, the causes are multi-layered. Inflation has driven menu prices up nearly 27% since 2019, breaking the psychological barrier that made Taco Bell an affordable cultural icon. A Crunchwrap Supreme that once cost $3.49 now hovers around $6.29. For the 64% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck, that difference is significant. Taco Bell's core demographic, young adults and night shift workers, has been hit hardest by rising rent, credit card debt, and living costs. Late-night sales between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., once the chain's golden window, have dropped 19% year-over-year, while delivery orders have collapsed 30% as gas prices exceed $4 per gallon in many states. Franchise owners report mounting debt, rising utility costs, and wages exceeding $17 per hour for kitchen staff. Corporate data shows operating margins fell from 22% to 13% in under 2 years. Even Taco Bell's quarterly menu innovations can't mask eroding loyalty and shrinking traffic. Symbolically, the chain's decline represents the end of affordable late-night fast food for millions of Americans. A $5 box that once felt accessible now costs $8.49, sparking viral outrage on TikTok. In 2025, the empire built on late-night joy is collapsing under economic pressure. Taco Bell's decline isn't just a business story, it's a reflection of an America where fast food, once a cheap escape, is now increasingly unaffordable. Number 5. Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut, once the crown jewel of American takeout, is facing a slow, painful collapse in 2025. Over 500 U.S. locations have closed, reducing the total to under 5,200 stores nationwide, the lowest count in 40 years. Same-store sales are down 6.8%, and franchise bankruptcy filings have tripled since 2023. The U.S. division, which once generated $5 billion annually, now struggles to exceed $3.2 billion in revenue. For decades, Pizza Hut symbolized family nights, red roofs, and affordable indulgence. But a large pizza that cost $11 5 years ago now averages $17.49. And with delivery fees, tips, and taxes, a single meal can easily surpass $30. For middle-class families facing record rent and $1.3 trillion in credit card debt nationwide, Pizza Hut has become a luxury rather than a staple. Inflation has eroded the value dining segment, and the chain's core demographic, suburban America, is being hit hardest by rising mortgage rates and job insecurity. Behind the scenes, franchises are bleeding cash. Delivery app commissions consume up to 28% of revenue. Cheese prices are up 40%, and maintaining aging red roof restaurants costs millions annually. Many of these once bustling locations now sit empty, relics of a time when families gathered for Friday night pizza. Pizza Hut's digital pivot came too late. Domino's dominates the tech-driven delivery market, while smaller competitors undercut Pizza Hut's inflated prices. Corporate documents reveal plans to convert nearly 1,000 dine-in outlets into carry-out-only ghost kitchens by 2026, a desperate bid for survival. The fall of Pizza Hut is more than declining sales. It's a cultural loss. The chain that once represented warmth, laughter, and affordable family meals now reflects an economy where even a simple pizza night feels out of reach. As Americans trade nostalgia for necessity, the iconic red roof flickers over a nation struggling to put dinner on the table. Number 4. Burger King. Burger King, the fast food chain that once promised "have it your way," is now facing a harsh reality in 2025. Have it if you can afford it. The company has announced the closure of over 700 U.S. restaurants, wiping out nearly 10,000 jobs nationwide. Sales are down 8.4%, and franchise bankruptcies are spreading rapidly, marking one of the most shocking collapses in the fast food industry. Once second only to McDonald's, Burger King now risks falling out of the top 5. The numbers are stark. Average menu prices have risen 32% since 2020, while customer traffic has dropped 18% year-over-year. A Whopper combo, which cost $7.99 4 years ago, now averages $12.59, a gap that forces millions of Americans to reconsider dining out. Even the $5 duo meal failed to attract customers, with value meals no longer delivering value. Corporate debt exceeds $11 billion, and franchise operators report razor-thin margins, dipping below 5%, half the break-even threshold. Utilities are up 24%, wages up 19%, and beef costs have surged nearly 30% year-over-year. The company's $400 million Reclaim the Flame remodeling program aimed at modernizing stores has backfired, pushing smaller franchises deeper into debt without reversing the decline in foot traffic. The collapse goes beyond numbers. Brand loyalty has eroded, with social media sentiment showing a 45% drop in positive mentions since 2022, and customer surveys reporting frustration over quality and pricing. Many locations in cities like Detroit, St. Louis, and Cleveland have been abandoned entirely. Burger King, once a symbol of fast, bold, and rebellious dining, now represents corporate exhaustion and the erosion of affordable fast food. The sight of shuttered drive-thrus across America tells a broader story. The decline of a beloved brand mirrors a nation where even fast food, once a last refuge of affordability, is now a casualty of economic collapse. Number 3. Wendy's. Wendy's, long celebrated as the honest alternative in fast food with fresh beef, square patties, and real value, is facing a severe crisis in 2025. Even the iconic red-haired mascot can't hide the storm. Over 450 U.S. locations have closed this year, while same-store sales have fallen 6.9%, marking the steepest decline in the company's history. Franchise bankruptcies have risen 38%, with several major regional operators nearing liquidation. The numbers paint a stark picture of a brand under pressure. The average Wendy's meal, once synonymous with affordability, has jumped to $12.75, up from $8.29 in 2019, a 54% increase. The once celebrated 4 for $4 deal quietly disappeared in 2024, replaced by the Biggie Bag at $6.99 or more, leaving the chain's blue-collar customer base priced out. Inflation has fundamentally reshaped the fast food landscape, making even simple meals a luxury for struggling families. Rising operating costs compound the problem. Labor expenses have soared 21%, beef prices are up 35%, and electricity costs for small stores have jumped nearly 30% since 2022. Margins have shrunk to single digits, and over 60 franchisees have halted new investments entirely. Analysts estimate that Wendy's U.S. system debt could surpass $9 billion by the end of 2025. Culturally, Wendy's is losing relevance. Younger consumers, once drawn to the brand's snarky social media presence, are shifting to cheaper street food and delivery apps, while longtime patrons struggle with prices rising faster than wages. Even digital innovations, including AI-driven pricing and digital drive-thrus, backfired, angering customers over fluctuating meal costs, a literal algorithm for inequality. Wendy's decline isn't just a corporate story. It's a mirror of America's shrinking middle class and broken consumer economy. The chain that once promised freshness, value, and quality now serves as a cautionary tale. In 2025, even fast food can no longer survive when wallets run dry. Number 2. KFC. For decades, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, stood as a symbol of Southern comfort, a nostalgic taste packed in a red bucket. But in 2025, that bucket is leaking fast. Across the US, KFC has closed over 400 stores since January, representing nearly 10% of its national footprint. Same-store sales have dropped 5.3% year-over-year, the sharpest domestic decline in more than 15 years. Executives admit the brand is losing its core audience. Working-class families who once relied on KFC's value meals can no longer afford $30 family buckets. A combo meal that cost $7.99 in 2019 now averages $13.49, and a 12-piece family bucket exceeds $32 in many states, a nearly 68% increase in 6 years. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept pace, and the average U.S. family spends 11.3% of disposable income on food, the highest since 1989. Rising operating costs have added pressure. Cooking oil is up 43%, poultry costs 31%, and franchise utility bills have jumped 22% year-over-year. Labor shortages have pushed hourly wages above $16 in 22 states, further squeezing already thin margins. Over 60 franchise owners are renegotiating debts just to survive. KFC's identity crisis is clear. Once the heart of affordable family dining, it is now caught between ultra-cheap competitors and trendy chicken sandwich chains capturing Gen Z. Even modern initiatives like Beyond Fried Chicken and digital kiosks failed to reconnect with cost-conscious consumers. At its core, KFC's decline is symbolic of a broader American struggle, a working-class brand priced out of its own audience. Families who once celebrated Sunday dinners with a bucket now walk past, knowing that the Colonel's comfort has become a casualty of inflation. The fall of KFC isn't just a business story, it's a reflection of how economic pressures are reshaping America's dining culture in 2025. Number 1. McDonald's. The golden arches of McDonald's, once a symbol of American optimism and affordable fast food, are now casting a shadow of decline. In 2025, McDonald's, the world's largest fast food empire, is faltering across the U.S. Same-store sales dropped 3.6% in Q1 and another 2.9% in Q2, marking the company's worst domestic performance since the 2008 recession. Over 800 locations are slated for closure by year-end, primarily in low-income and rural areas where sales have collapsed up to 15%. The problem isn't just rising prices, it's the shrinking purchasing power of the American middle class. A Big Mac meal, once a symbol of cheap convenience, now averages $13.59 nationwide, up from $6.39 in 2019, a 113% increase in 6 years. Even the dollar menu, the cornerstone of McDonald's identity, has all but disappeared, with few items under $3. Foot traffic is down 14%, and the brand's reputation for affordability is shattered. Rising operating costs are compounding the crisis. Ground beef prices are up 32%, packaging costs 27%, and average crew wages now exceed $17 per hour in key states. Profit margins have plunged from 18% to barely 10%. Attempts to revive traffic, including value meal relaunches, automation upgrades, and digital drive-thrus, have backfired. Customers complain of inconsistent service, kiosk malfunctions, and a loss of the classic McDonald's experience. Hashtags like #MCBroken have gone viral, reflecting widespread frustration. But McDonald's decline isn't just economic, it's cultural. The chain was more than a restaurant. It was an American institution tied to birthdays, road trips, and childhood memories. Its fall mirrors a deeper crisis: the erosion of middle-class affordability. When even McDonald's becomes too expensive, it signals that America's promise of accessible comfort and convenience is breaking down. The empire that once fed the world is now feeding on its own decline, a stark warning for the fast food industry and the nation at large. The fall of these once great brands isn't just about business, it's a sign of how fast the world is changing. What do you think this says about America's future? Can innovation turn decline into opportunity? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear them. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss what's next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.